Hey everybody, this is Quick Draw McGraw from Quick Draw Comics, and today we're going to be talking about the comic book that started everything for me, actually, and that's Wolverine #1. This is a comic book that inspired really my love of comic books and led me on a creative journey that continues to this day. We're going to actually be talking about that creative journey and like what I've created here and what you can create as well. So, just a little bit of background on Wolverine. Wolverine #1. It's the one of the most important Wolverine comics that have ever been created because it's the first time that Wolverine actually ever stepped outside of the X-Men. So, for those of you that are familiar with the X-Men, Wolverine is part of them, but this became a first-time limited series of Wolverine and really transitioned him into being one of Marvel's biggest characters. So, a little bit of background though on Wolverine is that he first appeared in Hulk number 180. There's a final panel in that comic book where he actually shows up, and then Hulk 181 he actually shows up, and there's a very famous picture of him on the cover fighting Hulk. So a lot of people kind of consider that to be his first appearance in comics, but this is his own dedicated comic book that he actually was given. But when people really think about Wolverine, they think about him as being like this guy who is, you know, tough and out there trying to like hurt people and do all this kind of stuff. But what's very interesting about this story about Wolverine is that it's actually a love story. So he's in love with this lady from Japan. Her name is Mariko Yashida, and he's trying to get a hold of her. And it finds out when he's in Canada that she had actually taken off and went back to Tokyo. And so he's sending all these letters to her, and she's not responding. And he says, "Forget it. I'm going to leave Canada where he is, and I'm going to head off to Tokyo to try and find this woman." Um, and it turns out that Mariko's family is a very well connected family, and with lots of crime and power and tradition that are kind of behind the entire family. So instead of being welcomed, he's actually treated as an outsider and an embarrassment and someone who is not worthy of Mariko. So that's really where this comic book becomes something special, because this is not just a story about Wolverine fighting a supervillain. It's a story about love and identity and honor. And so he really kind of goes through that whole psychological growth. And so, Wolverine is not like Superman, right? He isn't all these powers. He's not like Batman, where he's like this mad inventor and all this kind of stuff. But he's really just a man who's got some extraordinary powers and strengths, and he's really working through his own struggles. And that's really what this book is about. Now, fortunately, him and Yokita, they do not Mariko do not get together in the end. But he learns a lot from this, and his whole journey through this episode with her really kind of transforms him as a character and makes him more relatable, as any of us would have, in our lives when we have our own personal struggles and are working through our own issues. So I found it to be a very interesting thing. Now, I bought this book, this actual book itself. It was not graded back then by CGC. I bought it in raw format. I got it when I was a little kid in the 80s. I grew up in Overland Park, Kansas. And so I bought it from a comic book store out there. And then I ended up taking the comic book. It kind of went with me along my life to Southern California, to Northern California. It didn't go up to Boston with me. And then it ended up here in North Carolina where I live. And so I just love the comic book. And then I ended up sending it to CGC down in Florida to have it graded. So this is the actual comic book that I had as a little boy that I bought. And I had it cleaned and pressed by CGC. We're going to talk about CGC in the future because a lot of you probably don't know about CGC. And I got back, and here he is, right here. So love to have him. This is my comic book room. I am a collector of comic books. I love comic books. I've collected them for, I won't say how long, but it's been a long time. They are a passion of mine, and the other thing that I enjoy is art. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to unveil to you a comic book rendering, basically, of Wolverine. Okay, and just to make sure everyone is clear on this, it is of Hugh Jackson. So it's based on him as playing Wolverine. Okay, and I did this via paint by numbers kit. Okay, and you can find these online, and they're very fun to do. You can sit down with them. They take a lot of time, and I'm going to talk to you a lot in these future episodes about like others that I've done around like Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn. There's the Wonder Woman, there's Superman I've done, there's like Batman, Catwoman. I've done so many of these, and I'm going to show you all of them. It's a great hobby if you really like comic books. You can get into it. You can start to learn. I was a very good sketch artist when I was a kid. I just, from reading this and then reading others, I just was very good at sketching. I didn't know how to paint, so I really wanted to learn how to paint, and this was the how I broke into sort of painting. But it is a paint by numbers. You can get a little kit. You'll see them online, and you basically just get the paints. It's acrylic paints, and they give you a canvas, and they kind of help tell you how to do this. That's how I built this. Okay, so it is not my own original art. So I'm just letting you know. But I'm very proud of it, and these are very hard to do. They take a long time. For some of mine took, some of them like his, it took a while. So I'm going to go ahead and unveil it. And hopefully, if you guys enjoy it or whatever, and if you like this station, I'm going to continue to, or channel, whatever they call it, I'm going to continue to do this. This is my first one. I love this topic, and I'm going to hopefully help you guys out. So, without further ado, my friends at Walgreens helped me print this out yesterday. So here we go. So I'm going to bring this out for you. And the unveiling. Now, here he is. Hopefully it doesn't glare off of there. I'm worried about my lighting. So yeah, so here he is. Here is Hugh Jackson, and as Wolverine. Now, one thing that I will say is that so what happens is when you get these, they're going to give you tiny little numbers, and you're going to give you like little all kinds of different paints, and you're going to end up painting with very, very, very small brushes to do this. Um, what I will recommend doing, and this was not an easy one, I will recommend that you start with the eyes. Okay, when you look at a painting, as we all do, you're immediately driven to the eyes. So if you mess up his eyes, it's over. I'm going to show you later in episodes of like what I did with a Wonder Woman painting that I totally messed up, and then I'll show you one that I did afterwards, which is a lot better. But it was through that I learned a lot. So start with the eyes. Make sure you get the eyes correct, okay, and then really work on the facial expression. Because if you start to focus around, I mean, I know his claws are cool and all this kind of stuff, and I know the background's neat and everything else, and some of the dynamic feeling and movement you have in the body and the jacket and all this kind of stuff, and the collars, which he's very famous for, and all that kind of stuff. That's all super important, right? Don't get me wrong. The hair, everything else, if you don't get the eyes right, you're done. So focus on that, and then focus on like some of like the facial features around him, and oh, I almost knocked that over. Um, and then make sure that you got all that, like the shading and stuff around his face. Once you're done there, then you're pretty good, and you'll have figured it out. But you'll have some, it'll take you a while. So this thing did take me some time, but I'm very proud of it. This was one of my first paintings that I did of a comic book. Character. I'm going to go ahead and show you some other paintings that I've done in other episodes. And then also show you stuff that I've done around original art. I'll show you stuff that I've done around sketching itself in this channel. We're also going to talk about the grading process, We'll talk about how to store your comics for those of you that are kind of new to comics. We'll talk about new releases, things that are out there as well. So we're just going to talk about comics. We're going to talk about the fun of comics. We're going to talk about art. We're going to talk about having a good time. There's a lot of good mental health benefits of doing comic books and painting and drawing and stuff like that. It's called art therapy. I highly recommend that as well for you that are out there. You're stressed, and families and kids and work and stuff like that. It's nice to just get away and start to paint and stuff like that. I've enjoyed it. Um, so it's a great hobby. So please like, subscribe, whatever they do on YouTube, so that I can keep this going. I'd like to do more of these for you. I think future episodes. I think next one I want to do is Harley Quinn. I did one for on like this kind of for Harley Quinn. People love. I've done a ton of stuff around Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman is awesome. You probably see some of the comic books behind me. One of my favorite superheroes. So I am going to leave it there. So again, like, subscribe, and I'm going to leave it off with this is Quick Draw McGraw from Quick Draw Comics, and please like, subscribe, and check back in soon. Thank you.